everybody. Paul Richards here with PTZOptics. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have with me Andrew Haley. How you doing, Andrew?
Hi, Paul. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Thanks for being here. We're excited to have you to talk about the brand new Wirecast Gear. We also have Jim Bass from Video Guys, who's got the Wirecast Gear to show us as well in his hands. So that will be really nice. Let me briefly tell everyone a little bit about our show, which is every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And we do every Friday, most Fridays. In fact, we'll go over the schedule in a little bit here. We've only got 3 shows this month. Wirecast Gear today. The Sienna NDI, which is an NDI cloud, will be next Friday. That's November 11th. And then the NAB show in New York, we're going to do a wrap-up on November 18th and potentially have Martin Sinclair. He hasn't confirmed yet, but I think he's going to be on the show November 18th. We will see. As always, we do live donations for our charity that we support. We support a local CASA, a court-appointed special advocacy program, which donates to help children in the court system get families, people who need to be adopted, who are under 18, who cannot make decisions on their own yet in the eyes of the court. They help with that. So if you hit like, you hit subscribe, you're helping us add up to $250 a week to our donations. So, Andrew, this is the second time you've been on the show.
Yeah.
And we've got something a little bit new that we've been doing. I hope you're ready for it. It's called a lightning round.
Okay.
And it's 60 seconds. I'm going to ask you some questions where I can kind of just off industry, not about Wirecast at all, just about you, get to know you a little bit.
Okay, I can't promise I'm going to have good answers.
Well, here we go. Okay, Andrew, are you a coffee or a tea guy?
I think I prefer tea, but most days you'll find me drinking coffee because that's what we have here.
That's actually kind of like me. I drink coffee every day, but when I think about it, if I could have tea, that would probably be good. Talking or texting?
It depends on who the person is. I probably, if it's an uncomfortable conversation, I prefer text.
So that's you're so good at your answers. I can't believe this. Android or iPhone?
I use an iPhone.
Everyone on this show so far has said iPhone to that question. Favorite movie?
Oh, God, what genre?
We don't have enough time. Favorite book?
Favorite book? Oh, man, that's a tough one. Again, you have to pick a genre, but you can't go wrong with Harry Potter's. I'm also a big fan of the Shogun book by James Clavell.
Oh, yeah. Well, I love both those books. All right, last question. I know we're out of time here. If you could travel back into time to watch 24 hours of history unfold, when and where would you go?
Kennedy assassination.
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Wow. Everyone always has such good answers to these questions. I love it. Okay. So the way our show usually works is we have 60 seconds to go over each agenda topic. We've got 8 agenda topics, so that puts us at roughly, 2:15. Then we got 5 minutes to kind of just, let you go over and whatnot, have Jim talk, and then we'll do the Q&A. So for those people who don't know Wirecast at all, tell us a little bit about Wirecast.
Well, so Wirecast is a kind of a all-in-one live production software for your computer. It's Mac or Windows. It's cross-platform, so it's very versatile. And we're on version 7 now, so it's packed with features. And it's we try to strike a really good balance between performance, price, and features. So hopefully we're getting there. It's very, very robust now, and makes it easy to produce your own television shows or streaming shows, kind of like what we're doing here.
Yeah, and we're one of the. Are you like the only Mac software that does this type of stuff? Are there any? I think like if you're using a Mac and you want to live stream, you're using Wirecast, right?
Yeah, in general, I think that's true. There are a few others out there, but they really don't have the breadth of experience and feature set that Wirecast has, and they haven't been on the market nearly as long. And sometimes they come, sometimes they go. I'd say Wirecast has been here for 12 years and counting, and we're not going anywhere. So Mac is very important to us, as is Windows.
Cool. Well, yeah, I want to talk to you a little bit more about Mac if we get the chance, but tell us a little bit about Wirecast 7. So now let's say people know Wirecast, they have Wirecast, maybe they have Wirecast 5 or 6. What is new with 7?
So Wirecast 7 was our most ambitious and largest version launch that we've done yet. I think there was 18 months between Wirecast 6 and Wirecast 7, so you can imagine how much stuff we were able to start getting in there, and how much we were able to go to our wish list and pull from it to add to 7. And just a few of the things, we're not going to have time to go over everything because there's just too much, but really big performance improvements. One thing we kept hearing was that Wirecast was a bit of a CPU hog, a bit of a resources hog. Everyone loved the features, but they needed it to run a little lower in terms of processing on the machine. So we listened and we did that. We went back and retooled, refactored the code for more efficiency in performance. We made a ton of improvements with capture cards, with the way it handles video, raw video signals and things like that coming from cameras. And then in addition to that, we added GPU and CPU accelerated encoding. So you can now use an NVIDIA graphics card and offload all the encoding to that, or you can use an Intel QuickSync chip on one of your processors from Intel and accelerate your encoding that way. And we see huge gains there as well. So across the board, that's probably the biggest deal. In addition to that, we just made it easier to use. We redid the whole shot editor, which was something we wanted to do for a while, brought it right into the UI. It's really easy to use, really intuitive. It's just a flyout panel. It's everything you need. Gosh, we did audio and video syncing. We added new blue titles as animated graphics are now free with Wirecast 7.
Wow.
Tyler, it's awesome. There's just way too much to go into, but there's a ton of stuff.
Sounds good. Well, that was a lot. Let's just keep rolling here. Now, Wirecast Gear. I'm going to show some slides here. I have some pictures of this. Explain what this is. If that's easy enough. I guess just give me your best shot at what is the Wirecast Gear, the infamous.
Oh,
Wirecast
sorry,
Gear.
slides. I was waiting for a slide. There we go.
Oh.
Okay, so what is the Wirecast Gear? Wirecast Gear is and Jim's got one there sitting right next to him. So, we can talk about it's basically an awesome computer to run Wirecast on, and you can use it on a desktop. You can throw it in a backpack. You can mount it in a 19-inch rack. Portable setup for people who need that. It's basically, the answer to the question, what computer, what capture card should I use with Wirecast if you don't want to have to build your own or source your own and support your own computer. We built a system for you that's going to run Wirecast really, really well. And not only that, we know every single component in that box inside and out, so there's no surprises for us if you need great support from Wirecast. One of the challenges with Wirecast being so cross-platform and versatile is that people install it on all kinds of different computers and systems, and we like that. It just can make it a bit of a challenge sometimes to support everything that people are doing with it. So Wirecast Gear takes out a lot of variables there and allows us to be better support, give better support for those types of systems. So yeah, there's a lot of advantages to it.
Cool. Jim, do you want to go ahead and show us the Wirecast Gear that you have there?
Absolutely, Paul. So this unit here is the 110, which is the HDMI version. It gives you 4 HDMI outputs. Then they have the 210 and the 220, which would be the same unit with SDI. The 220 being a larger hard drive built into the unit itself over the 210.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I know you're a little under the weather, so I won't.
I apologize for my voice today, yes.
Hang in there, man.
Everyone's getting it. Trust me, I had it forever. My son gave it to me. Jeez. If you've got kids, be careful. Let's keep rolling. So what is the difference between, and some people might have caught that, there's a 110, there's a 210, there's a 220. What are the differences there?
Yeah, so Jim mentioned it there. There's storage is a big difference. They each have a system drive, so they all come with a 250 gigabyte SSD system drive that has the Windows and all that software loaded onto it. And then in addition, we've loaded on storage, more storage for just video files and things like that, and media files. So with the 110, you're getting a 250 gigabyte media drive as well. On the 210, you're getting a 500. And then on the 220, way up there, you're getting 2 terabytes of media file storage in addition to the system drive. So tons of storage. In addition to that, the capture card, which Jim mentioned there, HDMI, 4 quad HDMI on the 110 on the low end, and then SDI on the 210 and the 220 for more professional connections and cameras. And the final difference is the software. Wirecast Pro is already loaded on all of them, but we changed the New Blue titling software on the different models because you might want more features as to what New Blue can offer. And New Blue, I mean, it's a really, really powerful, robust complement to Wirecast, and it can do not only help you design and create your own titles, it can give you a bunch of templates of just ready-made ones that look awesome that they've made, but it can also bring in, like, create scoreboards. It's got sports or House of Worship or news. And then in addition to that, you can bring in NDI over the network sources directly into New Blue as well. So there's a bunch of different features if you really dive into that. And we kind of put the standard version on Wirecast 110. We went up a level for the 210, which is going to be more of a sports related feature set for those scoreboards, things like that. And then on the high end, we really just we put the ultimate edition of the New Blue tiling software on there.
Cool. Well, then I definitely want to talk about some of the sports applications when we get a chance. Did you say the new tech NDI is built into the New Blue title effector?
It is. It's built into the Elite or Advanced Edition and the Ultimate Edition. So the Elite, or the kind of the sports centered version, will give you 2 channels of NDI into that New Blue software, and the Ultimate will give you up to 20 channels of NDI. And for those of you who don't know NDI, it's really it's new tech's kind of new over the network video codec and format, which really makes it really easy to share video, high quality video, across your local IP network. And so you can bring in things like graphics, titles, software, other things from remote sources on the network feeding you stuff, desktops, all that good stuff.
Wow, that's awesome. That's so good to hear, because I know when we first talked about Wirecast Gear, say a month ago, I don't think that was NDI was part of it. So that's amazing. Let's keep rolling here. Do you want to tell us a little bit about a customer use case? And if you want to stick on that sports scenario, I have a few things to share as well that I know some customers are using Wirecast for.
Great. Yeah. So Wirecast is still early. We've just launched it not too long ago, and so we're just still getting the word out there. So people are really positive about it, and it's been received really well. But one of the early adopters of the Gear unit was Yes Networks, which runs all the games and media footage for the Yankees and big sports teams in New York. So we were really excited to get a Gear in their hands, and what they've said is just really good stuff. I think there's an article going to be coming out in Streaming Media Magazine about how they're using it by Jan Ozer, but just to give you a little bit of a preview, they use it for anything that is online on Facebook Live, is being streamed to their website, anything that's off the main broadcast that helps either supplement it or drive traffic to their main network. So they're using it for things like streaming, like the Yankee Stadium outside, just to give people a feel of what the night is like or the day is like on a game. People really love that. They use it to do interviews pre and post game, and they use it for things like clubhouse stuff, and even like streaming things like batting practice. So it's just being a really useful unit that they can throw anywhere. They can take it with them or keep it in the studio and do anything from a multi-camera shoot with it that looks great, or just a single camera like live stream from, say, something somewhere outside the stadium, kind of like a fly on the wall cam.
Cool. Well, when we talk about integration, maybe I'll take this agenda part over. But basically, in sports, we've got 2 new products that we're going to be showing at NAB New York, and I'm glad you mentioned New York, because it's just one of the biggest cities in the world. And I think NAB New York, having Wirecast there, we're going to be there, and I'd like to show a couple things. One is a new fiber system that we're offering now. This is not from PTZOptics, it's from Tactical Fiber Systems. But what it allows people, especially in sports, to do is to extend cameras up to 2,000 feet away from the Wirecast Gear, for example. So
Nice.
this would be HD SDI, and it can do camera control and audio. So they're seeing a lot of like NASCAR places. I don't know if you've ever seen like some of those race car broadcasts, but they have hundreds of cameras from all different angles, and they're switching them constantly. And to be able to extend a camera 200 feet is like almost they absolutely have to extend it hundreds and hundreds of feet, even past what SDI can do. And then to complement that, we now have outdoor enclosures. So again, when you're talking about arenas, baseball stadiums, places like that, it's usually outdoors. Not everything is indoors. So now we have these DotWorks outdoor camera enclosures that we can show. And
Oh, that's rad.
so you'll be able to come from our booth, and I'm going to show this one last little video here. Here's our booth at NAB New York, and you'll be able to go from there all the way down to the Telestream booth, which is, the Telestream booth is basically to the left of the SatCon booth there. I'm not sure if I get all the way to it. Let's see. Here it is. That's your booth right there. Just so everyone knows, right next to Decimator and right behind Teradek. So just so everyone knows, in case some people are coming out to NAB New York. All right. Just wanted to show that off, a little case study there. So next question. Let's talk a little bit about PTZOptics cameras and how they work with a regular Wirecast user using a Mac or a PC, and then the Wirecast gearbox that you've created.
Right. So you're saying anyone who wants to use a PTZOptics camera with Wirecast and how they would do that? Is that the
Yes.
question?
Mhm.
Yeah. So there's just so many ways, right? So and you know this better than anybody. You can basically, depending on the camera model that you buy from PTZOptics, they'll give you a variety of different ways to get that signal in. So they have, Ethernet. You guys have HDMI connections, and you have SDI connections. So I think that covers it, right, Paul? So you can either bring it in hardwired through an HDMI or an SDI signal, or you can bring it in over Ethernet over the network and bring it in through Wirecast Pro's built-in web stream input, which is only in the Pro version. So it's exactly for that. It's for IP cameras and over the network type stream ingestion. That's not NDI specific. No, the cards in there aren't 4K yet. So that we'll get there at some point, but not yet. Yeah, no problem, no problem. That's really interesting. You talked with Andrew Cross. I'd actually love to hear his thoughts on 4K. I think that generally people have traditionally seen that 4K isn't necessary, like you said, in the live streaming world. There's just the bandwidth doesn't support it. The decoding and the processing doesn't support it from either on the encoding or decoding side, as most hardware just isn't quite up for H.265 HEVC level codecs yet. And yeah, there's just and then when it comes to cameras and it comes to capture cards as well, and the actual shooting and point of presence is for that media, it's just not quite ready either. So in general, early adopters will be 4K, but I don't think it's quite useful for most people out there. And even if you were streaming in 4K, it would just be a very, very small percentage of people who would be able to watch that in real time in full quality.
So, University of Fresno is joking and saying that tell the audio engineer that Paul's mic's not working. Yes, I'm my own audio engineer, and the USB, I think it's something to do with power settings. I don't know, but
Oh, no.
and I got a new Behringer 4-port audio mixer, and I can't get the right drivers. I'm just like,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, you're exactly right. And Andrew Cross was saying that he thinks potentially by the time all the hardware needed to process 4K is affordable and ready and on the market, there could be a new standard by then. So it's like, why spend all the time building for 4K when, there's no cameras that can do it practically that are affordable. It's not really a standard that you can stream in. It's not.
Yeah, to give you an
needed.
idea of how challenging 4K would be, even right here, getting 60 frames a second has been a challenge for certain capture cards that we've, had. That 60 frame cards are relatively new to the market themselves, and that's still 1080. So when you start looking at 4K, even in 30 or at 60, I mean, it gets pretty crazy, and the general, equipment you need for that's very expensive.
Yeah. And I think it's across the board. Most broadcasters, I mean, I would never touch 4K. I'm like frightened of it. It's like, stay away. Maybe that's in the future. But 60 seconds to tell us what's in the future. Obviously, NAB New York's on the docket for next week. Anything you want to tell us that you're allowed to tell us about what Wirecast is moving towards?
So, I'd like to hear Jim's take on NAB New York, because I know that's a big show out there for you guys, and I'd like to see what he's excited about there. But just real quick from our side, we are really excited about the gear. We're going to be bringing the gear to the show. We'll be out there. Our product manager will be out there and just showing it how it's useful, what advantages it has and offers over other solutions out there, and just continuing to listen to any feedback. We are constantly improving Wirecast, and I can say this: we're about to release a major update for Wirecast, so we'll be going to 7.2 soon. You'll see some continued fixes and improvements there, and one of the cool things is you're going to see sponsored content tags for Facebook. So you can now stream branded or sponsored content to Facebook, which is an option to help you monetize streams if you're a verified Facebook page or company or individual. So pretty cool stuff there. We continue to try to just keep up on top of any of the most important APIs out there for live streaming platforms with Wirecast, just to make it easy for Wirecast users.
Awesome.
But
I want to ask you a little bit about that in the Q&A, because
okay, sure.
Facebook, I feel like you're really an expert in the Facebook live streaming space. I've been just testing it. We're a little bit over on time, so I'm going to roll the credits. We'll go to the Q&A. Really interesting stuff from Andrew. Thank you so much for being on the show. We'll go to the Q&A.
Pleasure.